guys. I have my updated Fire King deck profile that I've been promising to everybody with the new card, Ninetailed Fox. I made a lot of changes to the deck. It's considerably better than it was when I uploaded last time, and last time it was very good. So let's just get right into it. We're playing 3 Fire King Arvada. It's like a boss monster in the deck. It's not the main boss monster, but it's one of the boss monsters. The basic effects are when it's destroyed by card effect, it comes back during the next standby phase and destroys the entire field. It helps you destroy your own monsters and destroy your opponent's monsters. This is a going second deck, so keep that in mind. Also, when it's destroyed by battle, which happens more often than it used to because people are playing things like guard dragons and they summon giant monsters. You can summon another Fire King monster from your deck. So it has 2 effects. The first effect is the one you're going to use most often. The second effect comes up very rarely, but it does come up. Next, we've got 3 copies of Barong. Barong, I'm sorry. This card, when it gets destroyed during the next standby phase, you search for a Fire King card. Most of the time, you're searching for one of your monsters or the field spell. The 2 other spell cards are getting to the point where they're a little bit outdated. I don't think they do enough. There are better cards to play than them. But yeah, you're going to search. This is your main searcher. Very, very important for the deck. The next card you're going to play is Fire King Arvada, and this card is I would say probably the best Fire King card because when it gets destroyed by card effect, you can special summon a monster from your fire monster from your graveyard. Just whenever it's destroyed, that affects not once per turn. So if you destroy, if 3 of these are destroyed in 1 turn, you can keep special summoning from the graveyard. Then it has the effect to whenever you have it on your side of the field, when a monster effect is activated. I'm sorry, is there a glare there? When a monster effect is activated, you can destroy a monster in your hand or on the field. So you can just destroy another one of these. You can destroy a Barong. So it just keeps the flow going, which this card is really good. And like I said, it brings back a monster. It's one of the best support the deck's got. It came out in Circuit Break, but that card's very good. Alright, next we've got 1 Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. I'm not entirely sure why people don't play this in the deck. The entire deck was basically inspired by this card originally, and now this card is, its own archetype. But what's fantastic about this card is that it destroys spell and trap cards. Good against True Dracos, good against, what are they called, Altergeist, good against Sky Strikers. A lot of people aren't that bright, they forget all about this. Unfortunately, Called by the Grave is very good against this deck, but like I said, people commonly forget about this. Like, you'll destroy it, and you're playing a grind game usually with this deck, because you're constantly crippling their field. But they'll destroy they'll deal with your Grunics and they'll deal with your other cards, and then during the standby phase they'll run out of resources, and before they know it, all of their back row is broken. So this card's very good to have. But if you're playing against a deck that doesn't use a lot of back row, you just side it out. It's not that big of a deal. But it's good to have, in the main deck. And you only need 1 because you summon it off the field spell. You can get it quite easily. Next we've got 3 True King. True King Nazad, I don't know how to pronounce it. The Vanisher, he's very good. He destroys 2 monsters in your hand or field, and then you special summon it. If both of them are fire, you get to banish a monster, non-targeting, on the field or in the graveyard. Also, if it's destroyed, you can add a non-fire True King monster. I don't play any other True King monsters. You can play a 1 water or 1 wind one if you want to, just so it has maximum usage, but I find that to be kind of overbrick. I would say probably play the water one. If I remember correctly, it special summons 1 from the deck. So let's say this gets destroyed, then you get to special summon. You get to, what does this do? You can add 1 from the graveyard, which would be the water one, back to your hand. So I mean, it's not even really that great. The fire one's effects. So I'd say just play the 3 of these. Next, we've got the new star of the deck. We've got Ninetailed Fox. This card is very good. Whenever it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can You get to special summon 2 tokens. That effect is not once per turn. You can do it as many times as you want if you can loop it. And then when it's in the graveyard, you can tribute 2 monsters on the field and then bring it back, and it has piercing damage when it comes back. So you can actually just tribute the tokens. So what you do is, like, let's say you have like, this is your hand. You activate this, destroy these two. Activate this, special summon 2 tokens, and then, so this gets special summoned out, and then you have 2 tokens, and you can bring this back from the graveyard by tributing the 2 tokens, and then if you have another True King the Vanisher, you can, again, destroy this, get 2 more tokens, and then summon, like, whatever else you need, but it creates a lot of free resources, which is incredible for this deck. You can destroy it multiple times. It's really useful. This card really changes the way the deck is played. It's, I don't know if it's going to be, if it's a tier 1. It's by no means a tier 1 deck, but it's significantly better than it was before. We have Earthbound Immortal YUGIOH and the Wicked Eraser. I'd probably suggest you don't play both of these, but I have these 2. I would only play this one, but I don't have 2 of this one, so I play one in that one and that one. So this card, basically, when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you just destroy everything on the field. So what you can do is you can use your field spells like Diagram or the Fire King Island. You can destroy a card. You can destroy a card in your hand to search a monster. So you destroy one of these 2, like, because again, you're going second. So let's say your opponent has like a full field, back row, everything. You activate that. You activate Diagram. They go, yeah, you can activate it, no problem. This gets destroyed. They're like, okay, search, yeah, no problem. You search. This card resolves, destroys everything on their side of the field. Spell, trap cards, everything. So it's really good. This one is better because it requires 2 tributes and it can attack directly. This one requires 3 tributes, so in every way this card's better. And this card's searchable by Feral King of the Imps, although I don't recommend that you do that because then you're committing too much resources to a field that you're just going to blow up. But this one is in every way better. I don't know why True Dracos don't main deck this. It can attack directly, it requires 2 tributes, and I mean, when you destroy with Diagram, you destroy a field. I really don't know why True Dracos don't play that at all. It makes no sense to me. All right, next we've got 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is very good in this deck. Unlike other decks where you use it and lose it and then you never see it again, with this deck, you can actually bring it back from the graveyard. Also, you're using Doolittle Chimera. When this gets sent to the graveyard, you can actually bring this back to your hand. So, like, sometimes, you'll use it while your opponent was playing. Then you'll summon something, like, you'll have an end field of, like, this. Maybe, like, this here. And maybe, like, a Ninetailed Fox. And, you'll go through your attacks. And then during the... and then you have that there. So your opponent's turn would start whatever they have left. You special summon Grunix. This stuff gets destroyed. You get, 2 tokens. And then you get to add Ash Blossom back. And that's how you win the grind game with this deck, because you just get free Ash Blossoms back. You get to keep destroying their cards. You get free tokens now, which is really nice. You can banish monsters non-targeting. You can really, really win grind games with this deck. Better than you could ever do it before, which makes it kind of insane. So yeah, definitely 3 Ash Blossoms. Max it out. It's only a $9 card now, so try to grab them if you can. It's a common. I mean, you have no excuse. Before, if you were saying it was too expensive, I understand, but it's like a super cheap card now. Next, we have 3 copies of Fire King Island. This has 2 effects. You can destroy a card in your hand, monster in your hand, and then search Fire King monster, which is good because, again, it creates, your monsters are based on the fact that you're destroying stuff. So you can destroy those ones that I was talking about, the Earthbound Immortal card and other stuff like that. The second effect is that you can special summon a winged beast from your hand, which would be like Grunix or Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys. One of those 2. You can special summon them for free. So very good. Keeps the, rotation going. 2 copies of Diagram. You only have to resolve this once. You don't have to use it more than once. With, True Dracos, it's fantastic if you use it more than one time in a turn. But with this, you really only have to use it once. Like, you could use it once. Because, how many times do you have to search the True King? You don't need them that much. So you don't want to draw this too often. It's better if you go through this and then activate this on top of it. because if you activate this and then try to activate this on top of this, then you're just going to lose your whole field. So this card's not as important to have play at 3. And then we've got, of course, 2 terraformings. You would play 3 if you could, but you can't. This is the new card, Pot of Extravagance. The extra deck for this deck is virtually irrelevant. You have like maybe 3 cards that you actually care about, and then the rest just don't matter. So you have to figure. So I mean, it doesn't matter what you ban. Like you banish 6 cards, it's like Pot of Greed in this deck. It honestly is, because again, you're winning a grind game, and the majority of the cards that you're winning with are all of the other cards in this deck, because you're gonna be destroying fields, non-targeting. You keep getting free tokens. You keep regenerating resources based off the fact that you're destroying cards, and on top of that, you're destroying cards. So your extra deck doesn't really matter in this deck. I mean, there's some rank 4s that are good, and there's some link monsters that you need, like Doolittle Chimera. But outside of that, your extra deck really doesn't matter. So I just say max out on this. It's a fantastic card. It's basically like Pot of Greed in this deck. Next, we've got Fire Formation Tenki. This card lets you search a level 4 lower Beast Warrior, which would be Barog and the Arvada, the elephant. But those are your only targets. It's perfectly fine, doesn't matter. Again, it's just, it thins your deck, it helps you get to the better cards. But definitely 3 of that. Next we've got Rekindling. You can bring back, you can bring back as many 200 defense fire monsters from your graveyard as possible. So again, this is, like, I keep using the word grind game, but it's really serious. You have these guys, and you're going to be going through them and through them and through them throughout the deck. And then there's going to be a time, eventually you're going to get to the point where you have maybe like 2 of this and 1 of this in the graveyard, and then you just activate this, and you get to special summon them all back. And they're banished when they during the end phase, but they're not going to survive during the end to the end phase, because you're just going to link them away or do anything productive with them whatsoever. Make a rank 4 or anything you need. But definitely, this is like Soul Charge, very good for this deck. Next, we've got 1 copy of Super Polymerization. This will very much help you break boards. Your extra deck, I'm going to tell you now, is filled with a bunch of fusion monsters that'll help you kind of weed out decks like Salamane Greats and, I mean, really anything. Salamane Greats, Thunder Dragons, which are probably your toughest matchup. Sky Striker if you need it. But yeah, this can help you wipe out full fields very easily. We've got 3 copies, 1 trap card in the deck of Evenly Matched. This is a going second deck. If you can resolve one of these, it is a very, very serious advantage. Because, I mean, you have to understand, you cripple their resources, and then whatever's left, you pick and choose. You pick and choose the way to get rid of it. You can summon this. You can summon the Arvada to get rid of resources. You can negate their last monster. Let's say they leave 1 monster on the field after you resolve this. You can negate their last monster with that. Like, no matter what you do, you're gonna you can, use that. It's not really relevant for this, but you can wipe out whatever's left with these, although I wouldn't recommend it. You can ash whatever's left. I mean, there's not much resources left for them to use. So they're going to leave 1 monster or 1 spell or trap card, and you're just going to find some way to destroy it or eliminate it, which is kind of an amazing thing. But definitely this helps you win grind games against back row heavy decks, Dracos, Altergeist, and Sky Strikers. This is how you beat them. This is good against, what's it called too? What are they called? This is also good against guard dragons too, because you're gonna find a way to bait out the Dragon Abyss with something like Diagram. By like, you'd say, oh yeah, I'm gonna destroy the Diagram. They're gonna think you're playing True Dracos or something. They're like, nope, can't let that happen. They're gonna negate it, and then you can go for the Evenly Matched. But definitely very, very important for this deck. Any going second deck, you need it. So that's the main deck. Very exciting, brand new. The extra deck, we're playing 2 copies of Doolittle Chimera. You can bump it up to 3 if you think you're banishing it too much off of Pot of Extravagance. It's really up to you, but I play 2. We've also got the Firefighting Dermadol. It gains attack for every Wing Beast and Beast Warrior monster you have. In addition to that, if you have a spell or trap card face up on the field, or a spell trap card on your side of the field, you can destroy one of yours to destroy one of your opponents, which is really beneficial because you're playing Fire Formation Tenki. So you always have a free spell trap card there just laying around. It's good against floodgates, to get rid of floodgates if your opponent's playing any, like Summon Limit or something. It's good for getting rid of floodgates because you're destroying a card that really you're not even using. It just gives you 100 boost, and then when this destroys a monster by battle, you can take one of your banished Beast Warrior or Wing Beast monsters and bring it back to your hand. That effect is okay. It almost never comes up, and it misses timing, so it's like got like a million things going bad for it. Alright, next up we've got Hita, the Fire Charmer. This card is a new card. It's really good. It's really good for the... there's no mirror matches in reality, but there are Salamangreat players and there are Sky Striker players. So when this card's summoned, you can target one of your opponents in your opponent's graveyard, a fire monster, and special summon it to your side of the field. So that's really good because it's like a free link 3, right? So you link away. You link 2 monsters, make this, usually the 2 tokens, target a monster in their graveyard, whatever you want, Spinny, or if they're playing Salamangreats, maybe one of their link monsters. If it's like, you can take like one of their link 2s, which is really good because it'll help you make bigger, like Boral Load and stuff like that. You can target one of their like wolves or something, and then use it to link away. Also, when this card's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a fire monster with 1500. Is it 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand? Yeah, 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which is almost all of your small Fire King monsters. So it definitely has a lot of versatility. Good card to have. Next we've got Borreload. I only play just the one Borreload. No Boral Sword. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but I think Borreload is actually better than Boral Sword, to be honest with you. So we play the Borreload. Then we've got the Black Rose Dragon, Ash Blossom, and then a level 4 makes this, and then it blows up the field. Not bad. You have a million ways to blow up the field with this deck. We've got a Brotherhood of the Fire Fist, Tiger King, one of the only rank 4s you really care about in this deck. It's like you gotta make it. Most of the time, this is how you wipe out Thunder Dragons, because first of all, when this card's summoned, you get to set a Fire Formation card from your deck to your hand, which is Tenki, then you get a free search, or you can just use it next turn. Also, you can detach, and then all non-Beast Warrior monsters on the field lose their effects, yours and your opponent's, which is perfectly fine because you do, and it's permanent. So you do that, and it kind of stuns the entire field, all their monsters, and then let's say they have like 3 Colossus, you activate this, their effects are negated. Next turn, hold on. Next turn, Grunix, next standby phase, Grunix comes back, blows up the field. All the Colossus are gone because their effects are negated, so they can't protect themselves. That's really good. Or you can banish them or whatever you got to do. But they're affected, and you can search again, which is really good. You can search and it's very easy to summon 2 level 4s in this deck. Next we've got Abyss Dweller, good against graveyards. Tornado Dragon, good against Altergeist, all the Floodgate decks, all that. And of course we've got the fusion targets, the super polymerization targets. We've got the Thunder Dragon and Colossus, because that is a difficult matchup. We've got the Salamangreat Chimera. You can use your opponent's monsters to make that and OTK them. Predaplant. I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it. Draco something. Mud Dragon for versatility. Starving Venom Dragon, and against Pendulum, which is another deck that sets up a lot of negates. Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. Really good to get rid of that, because sometimes they'll make like an Odd Eyes monster and like some other Pendulum monster, and they have a decent amount of negates. You can get through it with this card. You just super poly them away. That is the extra deck. Again, very nice. I think it's better than the one I had before. Next, we've got the side deck. Most of the time, if you're playing against a smart opponent, they're going to make you go first, because you have a going second deck, and going first, none of your cards really do anything, because what field are you destroying if they have no field? You know what I'm saying? It's useless. So most smart opponents will realize that your deck is a going second deck, and they'll make you go first. Once in a while, you find a real bonehead. They don't know what the hell's going on. So they don't know if you're going first or second. They don't know what you're doing, period. So they'll let you go second anyway. That's very rare. So most people will recognize that, okay, you know what, this deck goes second, let me stop it. So we've got 3 red reboots. This is for Altergeist, evenly matched, you know, stuff like that. Just annoying cards like that. This is for those decks. Well, the evenly matched and, you know, various annoying decks like that can use trap cards. Then we've got the Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, Strike, Strike, Strike. These are all counter traps, as you can see. Now you're saying to yourself, well, you know, these are good cards and all, but they're one-ofs. What are the odds of you drawing them? And you're absolutely right. They're very good cards. They stop your opponent from playing. They're, I mean, there's not much else to say. They're very good cards. This stops evenly matched. These are good for interrupting plays, and so is Solemn Warning. So these cards are definitely very good for interrupting your opponent from playing. But the issue is, what if you don't draw them? What if you draw one of them? What if you don't draw enough of them? Actually, in this deck, unlike a lot of other decks, they actually are searchable because you can use Guiding Ariadne. And the good thing about this card is, if you activate in your Pendulum Scale, you don't have to pay any life points for any of this. Any of these counter traps, you don't have to pay any life points. So that's cool in its own, but also its bonus effect, its monster effect. So that's its Pendulum effect. Its monster effect is that you can, when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, so when it's destroyed by Diagram or the Fire King field spell, when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, goes to the graveyard, you can reveal 3 counter traps, and then your opponent picks one and you add it to your hand. So actually, in this deck, I would argue that Gliding Ariadne is actually better in this deck than it is in Counter Fairies. Counter Fairies are like, they just run out of gas. But this has a way of actually destroying the Gliding Ariadne. So if you're playing against Altergeist, you pick 3 red reboots. If you're playing against what else? I mean, Sky Strikers, maybe like Guard Dragons, you pick 3 of these. You can mix it up, mix and match, pick some of these, maybe pick something like this, and then your opponent picks one. But it's very good because it makes this a lot more consistent than just putting them in and not being able to search them. It's very good in this deck. It's very, very good. So that is the counter trap lineup, and then we've got just what's left. We have 1 Torrential because I don't have much space to put in more, and 3 Twin Twisters. Back row decks can destroy you, so it's important that you have ways to stop back row decks. And Twin Twisters, just, it's one of the best ways to do it. It's good against Sky Strikers, Altergeist, all of those back row decks. You need to be able to destroy them before they set up some kind of annoying floodgate, and then you won't be able to play like Secret Village or something like that. You have to be able to pop their cards during the end phase before they can even do any of that stuff. Before there's Secret Village or like Imperial Order or some form of nuisance, you got to get rid of them. But yeah, that's basically it. I think it's a pretty decent deck. I think it's definitely an upgrade over the last deck, the deck profile of Fire Kings that we had. Overall, I think that card significantly changes it. I'm talking about both Ninetailed Fox and Extravagance. These are 2 cards that have come out that I think have significantly positively affected this deck and how you can play with it. And I think the extra deck, the side deck that I made, is a lot better than the last one that I had by far. And again, if you want to play more rank 4s, and maybe you want to play the Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, you can replace all of these with meta relevant monsters and then get rid of them that way. Maybe like Colossus or Saryuja or something like that. If you want to do it, it's up to you, right? The extra deck is really up to you. The side deck, I think, is the best I've made it in a while. But that's it. That's everything. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you really enjoyed this video, be sure to click on one of these 2 available videos on the screen. Thank you for watching.